what's up and welcome back once again. Today we're going to do an oil change on the 2006 BMW E60 M5. This is the 5-liter V10. This is the S85, one of the most legendary engines of all freaking time, and in my opinion the absolute best sounding of all time that BMW has ever produced. So with that being said, let's go ahead and get to it. Alright, now we got the car up to temperature, so we're going to jack the car up. 4 jack stands. The car does need to be level, so jack it up as high as you can safely. Put 4 jack stands under it and make sure the car is level, and then we can go ahead and get to it. Got the car up in the air, got her level. Engine is warm. Now this is a sample that I just now took from the car before using this engine flush. I want to show you how well this engine flush works. If you use this engine flush and you have an S85 or an S65 or whatever M car, a normal oil change, not using it, there's no metal flakes or anything in there. But this right here is very important because it's going to get all of those metal flakes over the years and all that grime and buildup out of your engine. You do not want that in your engine. So if you use this and you do see some metal flakes, all that is built up over the years, and it's really, really good not to have it in your engine. It doesn't mean that your engine is done for, but obviously if you haven't had the rod bearings done, you know, tread with caution, because you're going to want to do the rod bearings on these probably before 100,000 miles. Although I've seen tons of people have, you know, hundreds of thousands of miles on the stock rod bearings. So I'm not your advisor in any way, shape, or form. Do as you do your own research and do what you think is best. But I say use this. It definitely cleans out your engine really well. I'm going to pour this whole container in here. Get all that in there. Now I'm just going to set this to the side. And obviously we're going to use liquimoly 10W60. We're going to be using ceratec and then a moly oil filter, or however you pronounce that. Moly is how I would assume it's pronounced, but I don't know. Alright, so now, well, let me make sure that's all the way on there. So now what we're going to do is start the car and set a timer and run the car for 10 minutes. That's what that engine flush is going to do. The engine flush is going to clean it out, and it only takes 10 minutes. Alright, it's been 10 minutes. Time to shut her off. Now what we're going to do is go under the car and right here on the passenger side in front of the tire, there's going to be some 8mm bolts. You're going to take this panel right here off. This panel right here. So there's one here, and I think there's also one over here. Take those off and we can access the oil filter. And if yours properly is mounted, it's going to have more than just 2 bolts. There's supposed to be a couple bolts here, a couple bolts there, and then these couple bolts, and I think a couple on the bottom also, but this lip is in the way, so kind of glad that they didn't put those back. So if you look up in here, your oil filter is right here. That's your oil filter. So what you're going to want to do is you're going to want to drain your oil filter first with this bolt right here. Get your drain pan ready also. This oil is going to go everywhere. Not such thing as a clean oil change really with these. Just drain that oil filter just like that. Get covered in oil just like that. All that we just removed from the oil filter cap is actually a 6. And then now we're going to remove the oil filter cap itself, and this is a 24 millimeter. You can use one of those big wrenches like that goes on the whole cap if you want, but this is what I have available. Get ready for another mess here. And finally we can get the oil filter out. So I'll inspect that here in a minute. I'll take this cap here, clean it off. I'm going to take this new oil filter, just set it to the side. These are the new gaskets. And I'm just going to remove this seal. Just like that. Take the new seal. Slap it on there. You're going to want to lube it up, of course, so that whenever you put it back on, it doesn't get bound up or anything. Just like that. Wipe that off again. I want to clean this out also. This is like a really good reason not to go to any like cheap quick lube place, because I guarantee they're not going to wipe this stuff out. They're not going to spend extra time that they don't need to spend on just a regular old person's car. And we're going to take our new filter, and then it goes right into place just like that. Now we're going to take our bolt right here, and we're going to put our new seal on it. Throw it over here, clean it off as well. And put the new one on here. Just like that. I'm going to go ahead and put it in here so it's not leaking everywhere. And you shouldn't have to tighten this tight at all. Just enough to snug it, really. That seal should be, you know, be able to do its job. And then that's for the drain plug. The other drain plug on the oil pan. So there's a drain plug right here also. Same size, the 6. I'm just going to take this off, unscrew it. I'm also going to have my cup here ready to sample after the liquimoly. It's probably going to make another mess for the 15th time. Now we just let that drain. I'm going to let that drain for quite a while. Clean this bolt up, and we'll put the new crush washer on it. Just like that. Alright guys, so as you can see, this one here is the pre-engine flush one. And you got, I think I can see like 3 or 4 flakes in this one, and that's really not that bad at all. It's pretty normal. This is the post liquimoly engine flush, and it probably has, I don't know, 10 or 12 flakes in it. It's not the end of the world, but obviously that's what was, like, you know, built up in the Vanos sensors and all the crevices of the engine that have probably been there most or all of its life. So that's a good reason, you know, to use that. You just don't want that stuff in your engine. But I would say definitely use it if you want, but first do your own research, like I said earlier. But that's just my 2 cents. Like I said, this car has not had rod bearings done yet, and we will be doing rod bearings on it eventually, whenever we get a lift, and I'll make a video on that as well. But as for now, this car is quite healthy as far as rod bearings go. Not bad, not perfect, but not bad. The most important thing on these cars, any M car or any car that has rod bearing issues, really, is just oil changes. I use liquimoly every 3,000 miles, and I always use the Ceratec and the liquimoly engine flush, and it does get quite expensive, but I think it's worth it. You know, preventative maintenance, doing that every 3,000 miles We have multiple cars, so it kind of takes us a little while to get that many miles on them. But you know, I think $150 oil change compared to, you know, $8,500 rod bearing service is much better. But obviously, like I said, we're going to do them, but I will always continue to do the 3,000 mile oil changes, no more than 3,500 miles on an oil change. And then this is our oil filter, standing in the LED light here. You can see that there's no flakes in this oil filter, so that's definitely a good sign. Now if we've seen like big chunks of metal in here, you should probably immediately stop driving your car and have the rod bearings done, or just go ahead and buy a new engine. But I'll go through and I'll inspect each and every one of these just like this, but you know, obviously longer, just to make sure that there's nothing in it. But from what I can see here, it's an extremely healthy engine, rod bearing wise, and looks like it's been taken care of as far as oil changes pretty much its entire life. And the car only has 88,000 miles, so alright, just tighten your drain bolt back in there. Don't tighten it too tight, just torque it to whatever it says. I'll check that. According to Google, 18 pound-feet of torque for this and the filter itself. Okay, now we can do the filter. Alright guys, so these engines have an oil capacity of 9.3. This is right at 0.3 of a liter. It's 10 ounces. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to pour in one of those 5-liter containers. Then I'm going to pour in this whole thing, and then I'm going to leave 1 liter in the other container. So together that makes 9.3 liters. So this is ceratec. It's basically like ceramic coating the inside of your engine, or you know, something like that. I'll link all this stuff down in the description just in case you want to try it. I use it on all my cars. It smells very terrible. But personally, I think it makes the car run smoother, and I also think that it helps with the rod bearing issue that these M cars have. So that's why I use it. Here we go. Going to pour in the first 5 liters of liquimoly. Here we go on the liquimoly ceratec. Looks like shrimp sauce. Smells like terribleness. So at first I'm actually going to leave 1.5, and then I'll run the car, check the oil, and see where the oil level is, and then at most I'll add half of a quart, and then I'll keep the rest in case I need it for anything. As you can see, I've got 1.5 left. Here's the 2 mark, here's the 1 mark. We're out there in the middle. Now I'm going to run the car and check the oil level. See where we're at. Alright, just check the oil level. We're reading at 1.1 liters above the absolute minimum. That's okay as long as you don't go over 1.5. Personally, I wouldn't even take it that far, but 1.1, 1.2 would be, I guess, the most I would ever be okay with before having to just drain some and then recheck it. The car does have to be warm when you check the oil. Obviously, there's no dipstick on these cars. You have to check it electronically. Well, thanks for watching. Go ahead and hit that subscribe button if you enjoyed the video. Like, subscribe, share with your buddies, whatever you got to do, and I'll see y'all in the next video.